What movie do you feel best predicts the actual future of humankind? Surprisingly mundane, different but not spectacular, exciting new AI tech seems poised to make life incredible. But as it gains more intelligence it loses interest in us completely and disappears to do its own thing. I love that movie. An AI sentient being like her is far more likely than autonomous robots. I don't think the actual future will be a utopia or a dystopia. It's just going to be a regulatopia. I lived through the 90s and it was a fruitopia. I also lived through the 90s and it was dinnertopia. The Road. Wall-E. 10/10. The Expanse. Until we find out exactly what's on VR, it's a possibility. Came here to say this. Proto-molecule aside, the climate change ravaged, overpopulated Earth, constant threat of war with Mars, and exploitation of the workers in the outer planets is definitely where we are heading if our species survives that long. I hope for a Star Trek future, but the Expanse is the direction we seem to be going in. Don't forget though, that the Star Trek future is preceded by the 27 years of WW3 that wiped out 30% of all humans and 600k plant and animal species. And in canon timeline we are less than 4 years from the start of WW3. However, on the upside we are only 41 years from Zefram Cochrane's warp flight and first contact with the Vulcans. So it's not all doom and gloom. All that sounds tame compared to the Expanse. I love Star Trek, but the issue is that despite the scope of the show being galaxy spanning and all their posturing about how great humanity is, their scope for Earth and humanity was too small even by DS9 that sought to deconstruct a lot of the naive tropes of TOS and TNG. Star Trek is essentially humans basically being godlike in their morality and logic. The Expanse is humans being humans. The Expanse is only 200 years into our future and already basically suggestive of 200 years of slavery, torture, and oppression for belters, with the added caveat of constant military skirmishes and Cold War / actual war between Earth and Mars, which inevitably ends up with belters as victims. On top of that, Earth already went through an ecological disaster forcing much of Earth population to become displaced, unemployed, etc. Comparing the two context, Star Trek sounds closer to fairy tale. Many Expanse viewers state how difficult it is watching any sci-fi afterwards because they are too busy ripping apart the sci-fi show for their misrepresentation of physics, G-force, gravity, etc. P.S. How much are you loving Strange New Worlds? It's my favorite Star Trek in a long time and I watch them all except the cartoon series. SNW is brilliant. Frankly, it's everything they should have done with Discovery. Elysium. Not a movie but a show. Black Mirror is really convincingly creepy. More than a handful of the episodes have had a "we only need the technology, but once we have it, this is what is going to happen. And we aren't far off on the tech now vibe. And for people thinking idiocracy, we should be so lucky. I highly recommend this video from Soren Bowie, especially that episode on the girl not able to get a house or get on a flight cause of social status. The one where everyone has eye implants and they block everyone from one guy as a punishment. So every one person he sees is blurry and he can't talk to anyone. Simpsons movie. That's already happened. A town in Maine was covered by a dome for a while. I remember watching a documentary series on when that happened a while back. There is a lonely crisis in the world. Rather than bringing us together, the internet has torn us apart. With the advancement in AI, it makes sense that many people would turn to AI for companionship. A new image. If your favorite video game character can have actual conversation with you instead of scripted dialogues, I suggest checking out r/Subsimulator 2. Damn. When did we as a society go from picturing future as a place with flying cars and self-tying shoes to boring dystopias and post-apocalyptic nightmares? Not that I think you're wrong lol. I think it's mostly seeing those in power not addressing climate change. There are those want to do something, but they are outnumbered by those that either don't care or want it to be as bad as possible. What do they care? They'll be dead before it gets real bad. And if they play their cards right, they'll be rich enough that even their grandkids' kids won't have to worry about it. Kind of puts a damper on any optimism. Yeah, no? Demolition Man. Just waiting for the Burger Wars to buy my Taco Bell stock. Children of Men. Great flick. Don't Look Up. Man. The chick that can't get over the general that charged her for the bag of chips really resonated with me. Like a top 5 all-time movie character in my opinion. Such a small detail that was super funny every time it was brought up. Gattaca. That's the one I was going to say. Idiocracy is the only correct answer now. Hey, why come you no have to? That whole doctor scene fucking kills me. Don't worry. Scrote. There are plenty of tards out there living really kick-ass lives. My first wife was tarded. She's a pilot now. Somewhere between Black Mirror and Gattaca. Right now it is a trend to foresee the end of the world or r/collapse of civilization. But that probably isn't going to happen. It's just the modern day version of Y2K/flying cars in the year 2000. The real future is going to be more like a slow/mundane decay. With some hard ethical questions. Came here to say Gattaca as well. Minority Report a close second. The Road. Came to say this. We are fucked as a species. Just give it time. Escape from New York. At least it will be cool to have a Snake Plissken doing cool s. Wall-E. Spaceballs. Out of order? Fuck. Even in the future nothing works. Anyone remember Stephen King's The Stand? How about one nation going for germ warfare on another? But they have the only cure. Once everyone's dead, that First Nation waltzes in and takes control. Interstellar. We used to look up at the sky and wonder at our place in the stars. Now we just look down and worry about our place in the dirt. Best and most meaningful line in that awesome movie. Terminator. Soylent Green. The Little Mermaid. The sea levels do be rising. Terry Gilliam's Brazil is probably the most accurate dystopian film when compared to current times. Probably her. The Time Machine. Little bit of Fahrenheit 451. Dash of Equilibrium and a sprinkle of Back to the Future 2. Minority Report. But instead of 3 people, it's simply an algorithm. Pretty good call actually. Idiocracy. 1984. This is the right answer. Because this is just an extrapolation of the world Orwell saw when he wrote the book. We are basically there just without the whole 3 superpowers fighting wars with each other thing. NATO, China, Russia. I mean at this point outside the nukes is Russia really a superpower? Pretty sure in a 3-way battle Russia either gets obliterated or just joins China. Honestly, after thinking about it, I don't think any movie does a particularly good job of portraying the future. I don't think it's going to be some grungy dystopia, but I don't think it will be a paradise either. I think there will be a lot of climate change, a big tension with East/West divide, and increasing income inequality problem will potentially lead to riots and some big change. I really can't think of any movie that depicts how I think the future will look, but I suppose Interstellar isn't bad. It at least tries to be realistic. Planet of the Apes. We certainly have the ape part down, and the planet part. Sharknado. Yup. When the Wind Blows. Nice. Simpsons. Don't Look Up. Not a movie, but years and years. Exactly the comment I was going to write. No movies can ever predict. Have you seen Beyond 2000 in the 90s? I thought F me. I'll be flying in cars and robot housemaids. And hold behold F9 2022 rolls around. I'm still driving my owner around, and the only robotic thing around is my kids saying they're too tired to do any housework. Star Trek. I know it looks bad right now, but look at the world 100 years ago. Then look at it now. Give our great grandkids some credit. Most of what's awful now is due to the super olds, 70 plus, having so much control. Yaddle. They are going to die. And sure, there's a junior for many of them who will be just as bad. But it's the bottom end of the curve. They are not going to be like their great grandparents any more than we are. Imagine Greta as the president of the solar system. Nobody tell him https //memory alpha. Fandom. facebook.com/wiki/world_war_III. When I picture the near future, I picture Blade Runner. Didn't Blade Runner have interstellar space colonies? Mad Maximum Fury Road gets a lot of element of what I see happening over the next 50 years, right? Water scarcity and desertification is upon us already. My favorite theory about Mad Maximum is that the rest of the world has recuperated and gone back to being somewhat normal. But Australia is doing all this crazy so nobody wants to go over there to let them know everything is okay. Children of Men. The Day After Tomorrow meets Idiocracy. Somewhere between Mad Maximum, The Road, and AI. Interstellar. Yes, I always thought this too because of how the technology is mostly the same, but subtly more advanced. Like the self-driving tractors, more advanced spacecraft, and semi-autonomous robots, and people still thinking the moon landing was faked. Some people will take any chance to preach about how the government is lying. The Soviet Union, which was the United States' greatest enemy, confirmed it. They were our only competitor in the space race, but they still confirmed it. Yup, I have said this to moon landing deniers. The most intelligent response I got back was, they didn't deny it, because they never got off the planet either. Idiocracy. Ready Player One. I mean, I'll take the Oasis. It'll happen.